Geeks. On this tutorial, I'm going to be going over the Suicide Squad Joker, Jared Leto version. But the thing is, it's going to be twisted a little bit because I just didn't want to do what you see in the movie because there's already a bunch of tutorials out like that for him. But I decided to take that Joker and turn it into more of a comic book style Joker. So there's more shading, highlighting going on, and then, just drawing on features so that I can make it look like a comic book style Suicide Squad Jared Leto version of the Joker. So I hope you guys enjoyed my version of the Joker. I put a lot of work into it, and I do all of this on my own. Like, I paint myself on my own, I do the camera work on my own, I edit, record, lighting. Half the time, the reason why you guys see pictures of me like this is because I have to take the pictures on my own. So my point is, I work really hard on these tutorials. So if you do like them, please make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll be notified every single time I upload. Both of those things really help my channel out a lot. With that being said, let's begin the tutorial.
To start this look, you're going to take a white paint and you're going to use it to paint all of your skin white. It's nice to have a big kabuki brush or foundation brush on hand, and you use that brush to dip inside of your white paint and then paint larger portions of the body. It just makes it so much easier and faster to do. You're going to want to block out your eyebrow hairs. To do this, you're going to take a glue stick and you're going to apply that to your eyebrow hair. You're going to want to go up and down with the glue stick and left to right. You just want each individual hair to be covered in with glue. Don't worry, glue stick comes right out of the eyebrow hair and you won't lose any hair. Then you're going to take a white cream paint and you're going to go over your eyebrows with that. Now, it's much easier to do if you have a lighter hair color. If you have a darker hair color like me, it's a little harder to cover your brows just using glue stick and a white cream paint, but don't worry, it'll end up working out eventually. Now I take my white paint and use it to paint on the whites of the eyes. You do not have to paint on eyes if you don't want to, especially if your natural eye color is green. But I decided to paint them on just because I cannot wear contacts, and also I think it looks much more comic book style with the eyes being painted on. Moving on to the time-consuming part, the tattoos. You're going to take your black paint and you're going to use a variety of different size brushes to paint on the tattoos. The tattoos on the face, you're going to want to use a thin brush to paint them on because those letters are thin. And then like the skull and the cards on him and the ha 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 near his chest, you can use a thicker brush. Now, when you're painting on the letters, you have to flip them around. So basically paint them backwards. And that's if you are filming the look or if you are taking pictures, because the camera picks it up the wrong way. So if you paint it the right way, the way that you would see it in real life, the camera is going to take that and make it backwards. So if you are trying to photograph this, you have to paint it on backwards, or you can use something to edit it and make it flip the image so that it is written correctly. Now I didn't paint it on backwards, okay? I painted it on the regular way, like the easier way of doing it, and I just flipped the video image because I totally forgot to do that. So I had to flip the video image. But like I said, if you wanted to photograph the right way, you gotta flip it around. Or you could do what I did, as long as you have something that can edit the pictures or the video, and flip it back around to make it the correct way. The Joker has so many tattoos in this film, so the promo pictures, it doesn't show all of the tattoos, so the best advice I could give you is to actually see the film. But even in the film, it's hard to see all the tattoos, so I actually had an action figure, a Suicide Squad Joker action figure, and you can see all the tattoos on there. So, I mean, you don't have to paint every single tattoo, obviously, if you don't want to, but if you want it to be perfect, I suggest just buying the figure, and you can see all the tattoos on the figurine. So where the gesture skull tattoo is, you're going to have to apply some gray tones around the skull to make it look a little bit more like a tattoo, and that's how it looks on the Joker. So you just mix a little bit of gray paint here and there to basically shade around the skull. You have to stare at a picture to see exactly what you're doing. Me explaining it, it's not really going to make sense. So just make sure you look at a picture and you're going to get the exact idea of what you're supposed to be doing. Remember, one of the most iconic tattoos on this Joker is the mouth that is on the back of his forearm. So you got to make sure you paint that on. You use the black paint to outline it and then paint on the teeth. And then you use a red paint to paint around the mouth, so where the lips are. Then use a pink paint to paint the gums. On one of the Joker's biceps, he has a robin painted on. And I know a lot of people are saying that could mean the Joker is the Robin, Jason Todd. But we'll see if that's what, the plan is actually going to be. But for now, you're just going to paint a robin on your bicep. Now it's time to start painting on details and features. So you're going to use your black paint to outline the eyes first. And then you're going to start painting on wrinkles and different expressions all over the face. Remember, the Joker, most of the time in comic books, has a bunch of wrinkles all over his face because he's always normally very expressive. When he looks angry, he looks really angry. When he's smiling, he has a gigantic grin with all these wrinkles going through his face. So you want a lot of that. And then you're going to also use the black paint to paint on the mouth and the teeth. Now, you don't have to do this, but like I said, this Joker I painted, I wanted to take the Suicide Squad Joker and make it look more like a comic book style painting rather than just really realistic and the way he looks in the movie. I wanted to take that Joker and turn him into an actual comic book character, so that's why I chose to paint on the mouth. Remember, you want to paint the middle of your mouth using the black paint to help hide the mouth. After that, you can take your red paint and use it to paint the lips. After I had painted the lips, I go back with the black paint and add more detailing to the face, because now that I had the mouth on, I could start painting on the dimples and the cheek indents around the mouth. And then I started painting on more wrinkles near the mouth to make it look like he is really grinning. And then I started adding comic book type of shading. Comic book shading usually involves a lot of lines. Then I go ahead and I take a lilac color paint and I use it to paint the eyeshadow around the Joker's eyes. And I paint it on very messy. Now in the actual movie, I don't think he has purple eyeshadow on, but I just decided to go with that to make it look more like the comic book Jokers. Now mix together a gray paint and you start smudging that color into the purple shadows to make it look more like the actual shadow that he is wearing inside of the movie. And again, you're gonna paint that on very messy. And then you can go back with your black paint and start painting on more details. You're gonna have to go back and forth with paints a lot during this look, because once you paint on a certain feature like the mouth or the eyeshadow, you have to go back with the black paint to paint wrinkles around that area or make it look more dirty. So it's just a lot of back and forth. Go ahead and use a pink paint to paint the gums that are around the teeth, and then mix together a light gray paint and use it to shade around each individual tooth so that the teeth don't look so flat. So Jared Leto's Joker, in my opinion, has bluish green eyes. They're not like a true green color, but they're not a true blue. So I had to use different tones of blue and green to paint the eyes. So basically you take your black paint and you use it to paint on the pupil. Once you've done that, you're going to mix together a dark bluish green color that you use to paint the outer portion of the iris. Then mix together a medium tone, so one that's lighter than the darker blue you just used, so a medium bluish green to paint the rest of the iris. And then around the pupil, you want to highlight that area, so you just use a little bit of white paint and you just mix it into the blue paint that's already on the eye, and it'll create the perfect highlight. So you basically just want different tones of a bluish green to create a lot of dimension and texture to the eye so that it doesn't look so flat. I have to explain this part real quick. I ended up painting scarring on the face because it looked like he had that in the promo pictures, but he doesn't in the actual movie. He just has veins that really stand out. Anyways, now you're going to mix together a very light gray color and use that to create more shading around the face and the body. I can't tell you exactly where to do this. It's basically you just do it where you think you need it. And you do that pretty much everywhere though, especially on the body like I said. I then go back with the black paint and I add more detailing and just kind of outlining the face a little bit more. Don't forget to shade the teeth in that mouth that you painted on the forearm. Again, remember, it's supposed to look like a tattoo, and Normally, if somebody I think gets a mouth tattooed on them, they have the teeth shaded, otherwise it would look like really, really funny. And yeah, so you're just going to do a lot of shading and highlighting on the body, especially the body part, because the body is such a bigger portion, you know, than the face. And if you just kept it all white, it's going to look really funny. So that's why you have to do a lot of shading and highlighting on the body. What I used to highlight is just white paint, but I made sure I applied a good amount of it on a certain area so it'll be very opaque. So your base white paint is not as intense as the highlighting white. So that way, you know, the highlighting white really shows. And you just want to highlight areas that you want to look more raised or areas that you want to stand out a little bit more. So that could be around the skull tattoo or around your biceps, shoulders, even the stomach where the abs are, so it looks like, you know, you're more chiseled than you actually are. I get asked a lot why I do not show myself painting the torso, and the reason being is you paint the torso area the exact same way you normally paint the upper portion of the body. If you paint it differently, then I usually show that, but I'm not going to show myself painting the torso when you paint it the exact same way you did like everything else. Like you painted white, then you paint the tattoos, and then you add a lot of shading and highlighting there. There's no need for me to go over each individual section of my body because the tutorial would be like half an hour long. That's why I don't go over the rest of the body, just because it'll take too long, and also I don't think it's necessary because once you know how to paint one part of the body, you should be able to figure out the rest really easily, I think, once you start doing it. So anyways, to paint the hair, I just used a green paint, but I mixed together my green paint with a little bit of black and white to kind of muddy it up, and then I used that to paint on the hair. And I just take that paint and I paint it over my natural hair to hide it. You could use temporary hairspray if you like, but for brunettes, I think it's much easier to use face paint. But if you're going to be painting all your hair and you're going to have it down, yeah, use temporary hairspray because face paint's going to look ridiculous. So the last thing I painted on were his gloves, which I did not see once in the movie. They made no appearance. Anyways, so you just use your black paint to outline where the glove stops, and then you're going to use a purple base color to paint the entire hand with that purple color, and then you use a dark purple and a lighter purple to shade and highlight the gloves. And like I said, in the movie, they don't make an appearance. And no, that's not giving you guys any spoilers because that would just be a dumb spoiler to get upset about, like, he's not wearing purple gloves. But yeah, they don't make an appearance. At least I don't remember it actually happening. Don't get me wrong, he does wear gloves in the movie. It's just not the surgical looking purple gloves. At least I didn't pick up on it. I think there was one scene where he does have these gloves on, but I just can't remember if it actually made the movie, just because during the movie there are so many small clips going on at once that you kind of forget what you just saw, so that's why I can't really remember it. But as a whole, I thought the movie was good. I didn't think it was as bad as people were saying, especially critics. I didn't think it was as bad as they were saying. I was expecting worse, and maybe that's why I thought that it wasn't as bad as the things that I read. The two main things I didn't like about Suicide Squad, and I'll try not to spoil anything for you guys, is the fact that the Enchantress, she's a little bit off to me. Like, it doesn't really remind me of the Enchantress inside of the comic book. And also the CGI effects were like terrible at this one point with her. And then also I just didn't like the fact that the Harley Quinn and Joker relationship was too lovey-dovey. I'm a big fan of their toxic relationship and how their relationship is mainly one-sided, with Harley Quinn like loving the Joker and the Joker despises her most of the time. But I do think that maybe in like Suicide Squad 2 they'll explore it a little bit more, showing their toxic relationship. But we'll see. I really have no clue. But those two things were kind of like off to me. But it's really not as bad as people were saying. So if you were thinking, oh, I'm not going to go see it because they're saying it's so terrible, just go watch it. Watch it when it's freaking like matinee, or, you know, those theaters that have $5 Tuesdays or whatever. Just go see it on one of those days so you don't feel so bad for spending so much money. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll be notified every single time that I upload. And I will see you guys real soon. Take care, bye. Oh, and also let me know if you've seen Suicide Squad, what did you think of the movie? I would love to know. So anyways, take care, bye.